Hey guys, I thought I'd make a little video on this Captain Biceps situation, since he seems to be putting out these significant numbers on this cheat bicep curl using the straight bar. So yesterday he put out a video in which he does 155 kilos. Which is pretty significant when we take into account that Levon's record is just 10 kilos more. But to compare these lifts better, you notice that Levon does 3 repetitions with this weight. So let's do this. Let's Google so 1 repetition max chart here, and 3 repetitions meaning the weight you can do 3 repetitions is 93% of your 1 repetition maximum. So if we then compute what would be Levon's maximum from this number, we can do it like this. So from these numbers it would look like Levon's max lift on this lift would be 177 kilos. And if we put that in the perspective of what Captain Bicep did, it would look something like this. Captain Bicep's bicep curl is 87% of what Levon's max bicep curl would be. So, but this is only if we compare the bicep curl, which is comparable to back pressure. So if the Captain Biceps and Levon would be battling just with back pressure, Levon would be stronger, so that Captain Biceps, this would be just this much. If we take like meaning that Levon is 14% stronger on the back pressure. But if we consider this, here we have a human from the above who is like on the arm wrestling position. So thinking about what are the force vectors here. So you have the back pressure going to your face, which comes from your bicep. But then you have also the side pressure. So depending how much side pressure Levon has compared to Captain Biceps, like people usually say that when you arm wrestle, you shouldn't pull to your face and you shouldn't pull directly to the side, but you should pull to your pocket. The reason why people say that you should do this is just a trigonometrical reality. Let's say you have back pressure. Let's say, for example, you have the same, back pressure is as strong as your side pressure. Then, if this is true, that your side pressure is as strong as your back pressure, then if you engage both your side pressure and your back pressure at the same time, then the force vector which this creates is this one. And if these are the same height, the same magnitude, the back pressure and the side pressure, then this force vector is square root 2 times as much as this back pressure would be. So, and to prove it, let's go here, and you can if you go to Google Images and you search for memory triangle trigonometry, you get a image like this, in which there is a triangle with each of the adjacent sides are 1, and so these are 45. In that case, the hypotenusa, the longest side, would be square root 2, which comes from the Pythagorean theorem, which you remember from school. So, if let's say for example that to compare this even more, let's say in the case where Captain Biceps still has, let's assume Captain Biceps doesn't have any side pressure. And let's assume Levan's side pressure is as great as his back pressure. Then, from what we reasoned here, if Levan's back side pressure is as great as back pressure, then his arm wrestling, the greatest strength on his hand, or the force he can generate to his hand, is to this direction. This direction. Right? And if this was what we calculated, this much in kilos, then this is this much. We can take it separately, so it's less confusing. Then Levan's strength to his pocket would be 250 kilos, which if we put in the perspective in that way, it would mean that Captain Biceps' arm wrestling related arm strength would be just 61% of what Levan's is. Obviously, this is assuming that Captain Biceps' side pressure is 0, meaning that in his situation, what we have here, his side pressure is almost 0 here. So in his case, this would be like this, and this force vector would be like this. And less you have side pressure, the more you only have the back pressure. So since his back pressure was only 5.5, not only, but in relationship to Levan, it's only, but it's still a lot more than anybody else I know. So in that case, if we would think about put into relation, like if we do this to analyze a bit Captain Biceps potential in arm wrestling, like then if we, by example, compare him to Levon, which is not a fair comparison, because why would we put a new guy against the best of all, the best current best? But to do that as a just thought experiment, if we assume he has no side pressure, this would be the situation. Meaning that Levan is 61% stronger about than Captain Biceps. 61% stronger if we assume that his side pressure is as great as his back pressure, and if we assume Captain Biceps' side pressure is zero, which both of assumptions of which are most likely false, but to make up a some number, that would be the number, and that number is just this, the overall arm strength or the force you can put out from your arm if you are in the table, not taking consideration wrist manipulation and wrist strengths or pronation or anything. Okay, but all this said, I think it put Captain Biceps what he did in the bad light because I think it is a world record. What Captain Bicep did is a world record, and I think people do not give him enough credit for it. Since this, you cannot compare directly this lift to Levan's lift because Levan used the super S bar, the like a bar like this. Levan uses a bar like this, whereas Captain Biceps uses a straight. I think those are different lifts, in my opinion. And what we can compare, what Captain Biceps did, it are other lifts of the same type. And Levan hasn't done this lift, so we cannot compare him to Levan. But what we can compare him to is Arnold Schwarzenegger. And there is a video of Arnold curling the same movement, and he is curling 275 pounds, which is 125 kilos, which is so Captain Bicep wins. But then there is also a video of Magnus Samuelsson, who is an arm wrestler or has arm wrestled, and I think he has some type of record. He has won some things. I'm not sure of it. And in this video, he curls 140 kilos on the same movement. And I think he gets 4 repetitions with it. But I'm not gonna speculate using the one repetition calculator chart. What would be his possible one repetition max? Or we can. So if we just want, we can compute that it would be it would funny enough it would be 155 kilos and half, but I don't think that's fair. It's not fair to speculate what his one repetition max would be from if he does not like repetitions like that. You have to do the lift to that count for the being that much. To have the record, you have to do the lift and not some not some repetitions for lower weight. So I think Captain Biceps has the world record on this straight bar straight curl, which is a separate lift to the Levan's the S bar, super S bar Super S bar seat girl. So I think Captain Bicep is the world record holder in this lift. So respect and respect for him for that. So I think people underestimate, like, people are pointing out his form and stuff, but the cheat bicep girl, he is not breaking any rules on the cheat bicep girl, which you do this way. This is how people do it. And there are lots of people who do it even with the worst form than what he is using. So there is, if you stand up, if you are standing up and you get the bar from this position to this position, then it's a good lift in my books. One more thing was Captain Biceps seems to have a new channel. I believe this was his old channel where he had the old lift, and this is the new channel. So if you wanna subscribe to his new channel, I can put the link to his new YouTube channel on the like the like I think he even redid the old record. But I put the link to it on this video that I make in this box, which is under the video. In this video, under this video which I make, is the link to his new channel if you wanna go to check it out. Okay, that's all. Bye.